Good morning. My name is Abraham Miranda, and I will be your chairperson for today's service. Are there any visitors or new students and families here this morning? If so, welcome to our temple. Could those of you sitting near them help to find the proper pages for the sutras, gathas, and readings? Thank you. First, we will have Sanbujo on page 24 in the big book, followed by Sutra Chanting Junirai on page 20 in the little book, or page 67 in the big book. The page numbers for the Sutra book will be displayed on the front scene and on your monitors at home, so please follow along. Please rise to sing the Gatha Hotoke Sama, which is page 55 in the small Dharma School service book, followed by the golden chain, which is located on page 2 in the little book, or page 15 in the big book on the golden chain 1. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living being and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Daibutsu.
Namo Amidutsu.
Namo Daibutsu.
Namo Amidutsu.
Namo Daibutsu.
Namo Amidutsu.
Now we will have a Dharma message by Mr. Akizuki.
Please join me in Kansho and reciting Nambutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning in the Hondo, and thank you for those who are watching us at home on YouTube. We can start a slideshow. If I said walk for peace, would that mean to anything to anyone? What's the walk for peace? Okay, so next slide. This is not a walk that's going to take a few hours or walking for 3 miles or even 5 miles. Walk for Peace is a group of people walking 2,300 miles 2,300 miles. It started in Fort Worth, Texas on October 26th and is estimated to end on February 13th in Washington, D.C. So about 120 days of walking. So these walkers are averaging about 30 miles a day. It's kind of hard to imagine 30 miles a day. So for you people who keep track of your steps every day, 30 miles of walking equals anywhere between 60,000 and 75,000 steps. That's depending on how how long your steps are. So that many steps every day for 120 days. If you calculate the number of steps over that period, it equals between 7.2 million and 9 million steps. So if you were to walk 10,000 steps every day, you'd have to walk easily more than two years. So walking every day, 10,000 steps for over 2 years, that's the number of steps they're walking in 120 days. The organizers say they are walking to, quote, promote national unity, healing, and compassion. So next slide. So who's walking? Buddhists are walking. Buddhist monks are walking. Not Jodo Shinshu ministers, but monks in a different tradition of Buddhism. So the walk started with about 24 Buddhist monks. Most are Vietnamese monks, but they're also Thai, Cambodian, and Nepali monks. They began at a complex called Hongdao Vipassana Bhavana Center, which is a large monastery and religious complex in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, they aren't carrying signs or shouting slogans. Most of the time, they're walking silently. Bhikkhu Panakara, the spiritual leader of the walk, said, "We walk not to protest, but to awaken the peace that already lives within each of us. The walk for peace is a simple yet meaningful reminder that unity and kindness begin within each of us and can radiate outward to families, communities, and society as a whole." Next slide. So it's not just monks, it's a dog. The dog is named Aloka. Now, Aloka actually kind of is from India. So when some of these monks were walking on a pilgrimage in India, this dog started to follow them all throughout where they were going. So they kind of adopted the dog, and they gave the dog a name, Aloka, which is light, I guess, in Pali, the ancient language of Theravada Buddhism. So Aloka is also known as Aloka, the peace dog. And you might be able to see that Aloka has kind of an interesting patch of white fur at the top of the head. It's in the shape of a kind of a heart. You can kind of see that. So they began walking in temperatures around 70s when we left Fort Worth. Some of the monks were walking barefoot and others walking in sandals. One of the monks can be walking in a cane. So let's see the next slide. So I think, so you can see them kind of walking. And they've been walking through 10 states. The temperatures dropped, walking long distances day after day after day, taking a toll on everyone. Lately, they've been walking in cold temperatures down into the low 20s. So you can imagine they're not walking barefoot anymore or in sandals. They're wearing boots, and they're wearing wool caps, and probably they're wearing different kinds of layers of robes. Actually, Bhikkhu Pana, you see there, they're walking in freezing weather there, walking in single file. And it's taking a toll. Aloka actually suffered a leg injury and had to have surgery, but is still going along in a support vehicle. Bhikkhu Panakara suffered from exhaustion. He's been treating with IV fluids and antibiotics, carefully watched by his fellow monks. And he usually kind of walks at the front, but now he's kind of walking slower, kind of walking up towards the rear of the procession. So I asked my friend AI, that's artificial intelligence to you, to talk about, give more information about Bhikkhu Panakara's reaction to his health issues. And AI said, he has said, quote, choosing peace means slowing down and listening to the body. And he also emphasized compassion must be practiced towards oneself and one's community, not just the world. The monks, according to I, emphasized that peace is not seasonal, it does not wait for comfort, and they're walking in the freezing conditions as a test of dedication that strengthens their resolve. So during the stop in Raleigh, North Carolina, Bhikkhu Panakara says, quote, we've been hearing peace, loving kindness, and compassion a lot on paper, on banners, and on the windshield, everywhere. But yet, we have not yet taken that into action. This is a call. This is a time where all of us have to walk together in spirit by practicing to make that happen so that peace can begin in the world. So that's quite inspirational, don't you think? But you can say, well, what's walking? Walking, what effect does it have? Well, is it reaching anybody? So let me again repeat what Bhikkhu Panakara's comment was about the walk. We walk not to protest, but to awaken the peace that already lives within each of us. The walk for peace is a simple yet meaningful reminder that unity and kindness begin within each of us and can radiate outward to families, communities, and society as a whole. So I think as Bhikkhu Panakara had hoped, this walk is radiating, out from the monks and from their walk. So next slide. So it's having really a profound effect. You can see this woman is, I think, probably Buddhist and is kind of overcome with seeing them. And as news stories and social media posts began to highlight the walk, people began to come out. They lined the street, they lined the roads just to see them, to greet them, to interact with them. Some people brought flowers, some people brought food, some people brought water. And some of them, even like the monks who were walking in these freezing conditions of the last couple of weeks, people waited for them in the snow and sometimes freezing rain. Next slide. So during lunch breaks and in the evenings, the monks gave Dharma talks, speaking on subjects such as inner peace, forgiveness, and non-reaction, focusing on mindfulness, compassion, and healing. As you can see, some of their stops, thousands of people came. And this is an area where there are not a lot of Buddhists. So most of these people are not Buddhists, right? So some of the stops, doctors and other healthcare professionals at night when they stop would come and they would care to their blisters and if they had aches and pains and if they were not feeling well. So you can Google Walk for Peace and you'll see dozens and dozens and dozens of posts about about these monks, videos, photos. Some of the as they walk, they see people like if they see people like kind of like in a wheelchair, they would stop. They have these in their tradition. They have like string bracelets, blessing cords. They will come and they would stop and they would gently tie the blessing cord on the wrist of one of the person, and then they would, while the other monks are chanting something in the back, along with, and then they would go on their way. So, so again, I guess the overwhelming number of people who come to see these monks on the walk are not Buddhist, but these monks are having a profound effect, I think. They're spreading Buddhism just by their action, walking, right? People see, these are Buddhist monks. But maybe they probably never saw Buddhist monks before. Maybe they've never even interacted with Buddhists before. But yet they're drawn to this procession, this walk. We could kind of maybe view this as Buddhism in action, right? They're showing what Buddhism is about, and just by their actions, they're showing, that their actions, they can walk with a purpose, a walk that demonstrates love, compassion, and peace. So, final slide, I think. So they're nearing the end. So I think they've been in Virginia. That's getting close to Washington, D.C. But Bhikkhu Panakara doesn't view the end of the walk as an end to what they're trying to do during a stop in Raleigh, North Carolina, he said, quote, "Peace is not a trophy we find at the end of 2,300 miles. It is a path we cultivate under our feet with every breath and every step." Again, peace is not a trophy we find at the end of 2,300 miles. It is a path that we cultivate under our feet with every breath and every step. I think we should express our gratitude for the example of these monks. They have shown us with each one of their millions of steps in their walk that their message of peace and the example for Set is something that not just Buddhists can follow, but all people can follow. So let's kind of, you can try to follow along, and hopefully, they may not end February 13th. I'm not sure if they're behind schedule or on schedule, but let's, try to follow along and see, when they reach there and the reaction of people along the way. Please join me in Gassho and reciting in Nembutsu, and I think we're kind of remembering and expressing our gratitude to these monks for their devotion and their example. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Akizuki. Please rise to sing the Gatha farewell on page 45 in the Little Service book, followed by the promise, located on page 5 in the Little Book or page 15 in the Big Book.
Dharma school is over for another day. Let us gather round the shrine, bow our heads and say, thank you, teacher, for your help. Thank you, everyone. Buddha's love will keep us safe till our work is done. So we'll meet again next week. Won't you take good care? Let us try to do what's right, always kind and fair. We shall spread the happiness faith in Buddha brings. Now it's time to say goodbye till we meet again. Namu Amida Butsu, sing this fine refrain. Namu Amida Butsu, sunny day or rain. Namu Amida Butsu, strong in faith remain. Namu Amida Butsu, till we meet again.
The promise. We thank the Buddha for showing us the way of freedom. We will endeavor to walk in his noble path every day in our lives. Namo Idabutsu. Namo Idabutsu. Namo Idabutsu. Thank you to Rinban Adams, Reverend Jones, Reverend Mikame, Mr. Akizuki, Mr. Walling, Organist Mrs. Jones, and AV Coordinator Kevin Keguana. Are there any announcements?
Hello, my name is Trevor Fujimoto.
And my name is Brandon Nagatani. We are from Boy Scout Troop 611.
On March 14th, 2026, we'll be having a family dinner fundraiser in the gym.
The tickets are $25 each for takeout or dine-in.
Dine-in will start at 4 and end at 6. Opposite. Takeout will start at 4 and end at 6, and the dine-in will be from 5 to 7.
You can purchase tickets in front of the garden next to the church.
The tickets are $25 each for takeout and dine-in. Thank you for supporting our troop.
Hello, my name is Tyson from Dharma School 5th and 6th grade class. The Dharma School will be working on an all Dharma School Dana project. We will be making pet toys for the local animal shelter from old towels and fleece items. We are asking for donations and old towels and fleece items like pajamas. The animal shelter will also accept fleece blankets for their animals, so we will be collecting those to give to them. There is a box in the back of the Honda to place your donations. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Linda Ichinaga, and 2 messages. One, today is soul line dancing, so come on out, 11:30, and join us in the gym, okay? So get your exercise in, okay? Next message is for our art contest, the Ikosanga Dharma School art contest for Earth Day, and reusable things, use them again for art projects or something that can be reused. It's only one Earth, that's our theme, okay? And so and the deadline for submitting is March 15th. So please think about that and get going on your art projects. Thanks.
Before everyone leaves the temple, please straighten all the books for the next service. Those of you who are interested are welcome to attend the adult English service following this service. For your safety, please obey the crossing guards and look both ways before crossing the street. Thank you for attending today's service.
Hello, my name is Heather Kitasoe, and I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's Fusen no Hi Kisaragi-Ki service. Before we begin this morning's service, just a reminder that there be no food or drinks in the hondo. Also, please turn off your cell phones. Thank you. We will begin this morning's service with Sanbujo on page 24 in the large service book, followed by Sutra chanting, Sanbutsuge, on page 22 in the small Dharma School service book, and page 79 in the large service book. The page numbers for the Sutra book will be displayed on the front screen and on your monitors at home, so please follow along. Now we will have Daihyo Shoko. Janice Doi representing the Betsuin board. Holly Lowe, representing the Buddhist Women's Association. Thank you. Please rise for Gatha, Seiya, which is on page 226 in the large service book. Remain standing for San Kie Mon on page 6 of the large service book, and the three treasures, page 3 in the small Dharma school service book.
Hotoke tachi yoru hiru tsuneni mamorasaku yo kiku ni nagomeru waga kokoro. 第三問。人参受けがたし、今すでに行く。仏法聞きがたし、今すでに聞く。好み根性に向かってどうせずんば、さらにいずれの章に向かってか、好みをどせん。大衆もろともに指針に三宝に帰依し、立てまつるべし。自ら仏に帰依し、立てまつる。まさに願わくば、衆生とともに大道を体現して無常意を起こさん。自ら法に帰依し、立てまつる。まさに願わくば、衆生とともに深く共造に入りて知恵海のごとくならん。自ら僧に帰依し立てまつる。まさに願わくば衆生とともに大衆を通りして一切無下ならん。無常人人未明の方は百千万号にも愛おうことかたし、我今検問し従事することを得たり、願わくは如来の真実義を下し立てまつらん。 Please remain standing for the reading of the three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu.
And now, Rinban Adams will give his morning's Dharma message.
Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu. Please join me in Gassho. Gassho onegai shimasu. The Buddhas of the 10 quarters, countless as the sands of the Ganges, teach this Dharma that is most difficult to accept. For the sake of the evil world of the 5 defilements, they bear witness to the teaching and protect beings who take refuge in it. Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu. Good morning, everyone. Minasan ohayo gozaimasu. It's wonderful to be here together as we observe this Fusei no Hi Kisaragi-Ki service. The name of this service is, it's kind of completely in Japanese. And sometimes people wonder, what does it mean? What does Fusei no Hi mean? What does Kisaragi-Ki mean? These are very meaningful terms. I think many of us are aware that this service is a service we hold in memory inspired by Lady Takeko Kujo. And so, Fusei no Hi. Fusei means generosity. We often use the Sanskrit word dana, and no is like a possessive particle. Hi means day. So we sometimes also call this service Dana Day. And then Kisaragi-Ki. This is a very specific service in the Jodo Shinshu Nishi Honganji tradition. So many temples hold this Kisaragi-Ki service in this month of February. And the meaning of Kisaragi is, this is in the old Japanese calendar. Kisaragi referred to the second month. The second month. Now, Japan in the Meiji period kind of set their calendar to the Gregorian calendar. So January 1st, in the sort of Western calendar, became the first day of the year. But traditionally, Japan was following the lunar calendar, so the year started kind of later in the seasons. And so this second month was the month when spring was arriving. And so the kind of original meaning of Kisaragi, I read, was that the grasses and the leaves and the trees and the plants are all kind of coming back to life at the end of the winter months. And so this is a time, so Kisaragi refers to the second month, or February, and it refers, if you say ki is like Ishuki, Sankaiki, when we count our memorial services. So the memorial service in the month of February is the month in which we remember Lady Takeko Kujo, who realized birth in the Pure Land. She died on February 7th, 1928. So because her Memorial Day is February 7th, so we observe this service at the beginning of February in honor of her. And her life is really a shining example of what it means to receive this Nembutsu teaching, to embody these teachings in our modern world. So she was living in Japan at a time when Japan was rapidly transforming. She was born at a time when Japan was opening up to the West, at a time when Japan was beginning to change and modernize very rapidly. She was born into a very upper class, privileged background. She was born in 1887 as the daughter of the 21st Gomonshu, Myonyo Shonin. Now her father, Gomonshu Myonyo Shonin, he had a very broad international view. He was the first Gomonshu, the first abbot of our mother temple, to send ministers overseas. He was the abbot at the time that the Buddhist Churches of America was founded. In 1898, he sent his first delegation. 1899, when the kind of Buddhist Church of San Francisco and our organization was first established. So he was that early Gomonshu. And he was also the Gomonshu at the time when this San Jose Buddhist Church, this Betsuin, was founded as well. And so in 1902. And so she grew up very comfortable circumstances. She wouldn't have been exposed to a lot of poverty and difficulty in her daily life. At that time in Japan, the family of the Gomonshu was kind of on the level of the emperor of Japan. In fact, her sister-in-law's sister was the wife of one of the emperors of Japan. And so the family, her family, was at kind of the highest levels of society. Now, her father, Myonyo Shonin, he crossed over to the other shore in 1903 when she was just 16 years old. And so at that time, then she was cared for by her older brother, who was quite a bit older, was about 10 years older than she was, Otani Kozui, who was the next in line. He was the next Gomonshu, and his wife, Kazuko, was educated to be the next Orakata-sama, or the next wife of the Gomonshu. It's a very important role in the Honganji. And because they were relatively close in age, Takeko-san and Kazuko-san, they were kind of like classmates. They had private tutors teaching them things like the French language, traditional Japanese arts, but also the teachings of Jodo Shinshu. So she had a very thorough education, both in Pure Land Buddhism, the Buddhist teachings, and also the life of Shinran Shonin. So she would have learned about how Shinran Shonin, he cared for people in times of difficulty. He lived in a time when there was tremendous war. There were civil wars raging throughout Japan at the time. In fact, it said that he, as a young child at the age of 9, had to go into temple life. He had to leave home in part because his family was kind of caught up in some of these internal military conflicts and so forth. She also would have learned about how Shinran Shonin, throughout his life, spent his time living with the common people, the workers, and spending time with them, bringing them comfort and peace of mind by teaching the Buddhist teachings, by offering this Nembutsu teaching. And so when in 1904, when the Russo-Japanese War broke out, this was a really crucial time in Japan, because Japan, which had been kind of closed off for the previous 200 years, now was venturing out and asserting itself on the national stage, international stage. Young men, in many cases, kind of like boys who'd never left their own village in rural parts of Japan, were being sent overseas to fight in a war, using new, modern, unfamiliar weapons. Their families were sending their sons off, and these people were experiencing tremendous stress and worry, many of them suffering injuries, even dying on the battlefield. And at that time, Kazuko-san, and Takeko-san were inspired with compassion. Whatever you feel about, a different war, a military conflict, the people who are caught up in that, the soldiers on the ground, the families who are waiting at home, they experience tremendous suffering, stress, anxiety, sadness, parting of loved ones. And so Kazuko-san and Takeko-san, they said, we can do something about this. And so they began to travel throughout Japan and organize the women of the local temples into Buddhist women's associations, or Fujinkai. And this is the origin of the Buddhist Women's Association movement that this Buddhist Women's Association, which hosted and is sponsoring our service today, which does so much here at our local Sangha and throughout the Buddhist churches of America, throughout the world, it began with this deep sense of compassion and concern. Now, after the war finished, then they began to think, well, what can we do in the larger society? And so their efforts shifted towards caring for the poor and to providing education for women and girls. So Kazuko-san and Takeko-san were some of the first leaders. Kazuko-san was the founding principal of the Kyoto, what's now the Kyoto Women's University, but a university to provide education for women. And so at the age of 22, in 1909, Takeko-san married Kujo Yoshimasa, who was Kazuko-san's older brother, right? So then, she was very close. Kazuko-san in many ways was like her closest friend. So she wound up, being able to marry, and so they were, sort of sister-in-laws in two capacities. But Baron Kujo Yoshimasa, he was destined to go and study in England. He went and he studied at Cambridge University, and so Takeko-san traveled with him. And while she was there, she saw the works that Christian women were doing in their communities, and particularly the work they were doing in the slums of London. Because this was the time of the Industrial Revolution, when people who'd been working in the farms out on the countryside were starting to move into the cities. And they were going from, kind of stable, fairly comfortable lives out in the countryside, but they could earn so much more money working at factories in the city. So they would come into the cities and they would get relatively high wages, but of course, places like London, places like Tokyo, places like San Francisco, very expensive. And so they wound up living in very extreme conditions of poverty in these very unsanitary slums. And the disease was rampant, widespread, all kinds of social problems. And so observing that and feeling a sense of concern, then Takeko-sama saw that there were groups of women organizing around their faith, around their religious tradition to help these people. And so she actually didn't stay long in London. She moved back after about a year and began immediately working very hard to care for the people in the slums of Tokyo. She dedicated much of her life to that, and particularly on September 1st, 1923, she was there and already back living in Tokyo. At that time, her husband, Baron Kujo Yoshimasa, he was back in Japan as well. But on that day, September 1st, 1923, at 11:58 a.m., there was a 7.5 magnitude earthquake. It's a massive earthquake, and it hit right at lunchtime. So many people were, they had the fires going, they were preparing, cooking lunch. This huge earthquake strikes, and in many of those densely packed, impoverished areas, the houses were made of wood and paper. So, of course, big earthquake happens, stoves get tipped over, fires naturally begin here and there in little spots, several fires. But then as the afternoon progresses and the winds begin to blow in off the Tokyo Bay. So the winds are blowing in the afternoon, like if you've ever been out by the bay in the afternoon, it's really windy, right? By the bay. So these winds start blowing through and this fire just tears through Tokyo. And people are gathering at the Tsukiji Honganji, which at the time that was the temple where Lady Takeko Kujo was living. And so her husband, Baron Yoshimasa, he comes home and he finds all these people are gathered out in front of the temple, in the courtyard of the temple, because it's the one safe place. Because the temple was built with the wisdom of traditional Japanese architecture like our Betsuin here, when the earthquake happened, it's that traditional joint-style architecture that flexes and doesn't break. So it was one of the few buildings still standing, tall temple roof, so people gathered there. And then as the fires began to spread, they realized we have to flee. We have to run from these fires. And so Lady Kujo, in her letters, she describes how she first had to get dressed, because she'd come home, she'd changed into her comfortable clothes, but she was a proper lady. And so if she was going to go out, she needed to be properly dressed. And every picture I've seen of her that was taken while she was in Japan, she's always wearing kimono, beautiful kimono. So she dresses into her beautiful kimono. She doesn't put on running shoes, of course. She gets into her geta, right? And she starts to flee, along with everybody, people of the highest classes of society, as well as, the common people, the common workers, people living in poverty. They're all fleeing together. It didn't matter how rich, how beautiful your home was, how strong it was. As this disaster and these fires came, everyone all together equally was fleeing for their lives. In her letter, she describes how they would hear these explosions of propane tanks going off as they're running, like, the wind's blowing, these fires, and they're running, and it's like some sort of a scene from a movie where there's explosions going off behind them. They wound up having to flee. They ran 4 miles from Tsukiji Honganji to the Takagicho area, neighborhood of Aoyama, where there was a Honganji Betsuin that was safe. So 4 miles, to give you a sense of how far that is. That's from here to Santa Clara City Hall. Okay? So think about what you wear when you come out for obon dancing. You've got your kimono, you've got your nice, zori or your geta on. Now imagine going as fast as you could on foot from here to Santa Clara City Hall, 4 miles, right? So she experienced this sense of no matter how much wealth, privilege, influence her family had, she was like everyone else, running for her life. And so this was a key turning point for her. She had grown up hearing and receiving these teachings of Shinran Shonin. She had already had this inspiration to practice dana and charity. But after this moment, she dedicated her life completely to caring for those in need. Following the earthquake, she founded the Ashoka Hospital. It's a hospital in Tokyo. It's still there today. I remember talking to Reverend Laverne Sasaki, who was a senior senpai of mine, and he had studied in Japan in the 1950s, and he talked about how he would go to Asoka Hospital to receive checkups and so forth. But this was, at the time, one of the first modern hospitals in Japan to provide modern medical care, and it was built in an area where it was accessible to the common people. She wrote a book called Muyuge, which is the flower without sadness. In 1927, this was a bestseller. This was back in the days when you could make a lot of money selling a book of poetry, right, and essays. And so it generated tremendous income, and all of the royalties from that book were dedicated to the hospital. So she showed us that we should cherish each moment of our lives, caring for each other. So before I began my Dharma talk, we sang a song, Seiya. Seiya is one of the poems that's found in that book. And this it's very beautiful, profound Buddhist meaning. We sing it in Japanese, but I want to share with you the English translation. It says, "The starry heavens are magnificent. Ah, who can fathom their mystery? When those countless eyes glisten so brightly, how they delight my aching heart. More abundant than the sands of the Ganges are the Buddhas that fill the universe. Night and day, they constantly protect us. Hearing this soothes my aching heart. So she talks about the darkness of the night sky. In Buddhism, darkness refers to ignorance. The light refers to wisdom. So she calls this the starry night, she says it's a riddle, it's nazo. How can it be that in the midst of all that darkness, there is light and beauty everywhere? Just like in our world, in the midst of all of the darkness of ignorance and foolishness and all of the mistaken thinking that we see running rampant in our world today, just as in her time, that in the midst of that, we have these moments of light and beauty surrounding us. We hear these words, Namo Amida Butsu. We see people like, Mr. Akizuki shared with us, these monks who are walking from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C., these people who are expressing wisdom and compassion in this world in which we live. So she sees this and she's inspired by the words of Shinran Shonin, the words that I read at the start of my talk. The Buddhas of the 10 directions, countless as the sands of the Ganges. They teach this Dharma most difficult to accept, the truth of entrusting in Amida Buddha, the truth of awakening to the true essence of our lives, which is this connection that we share with one another as we journey together toward the world of peace and bliss. For the sake of the evil world of the 5 defilements, these Buddhas, they bear witness to the teaching and protect beings who take refuge in it. So in the midst of the vast darkness of our own ignorance, the light of the Buddha's wisdom shines everywhere. We have Namo Amida Butsu. We carry this with us in our hearts moment to moment. The countless Buddhas, so for Takeko-san, the countless Buddhas to protect her does not mean that she will not face difficult or hardship. Doesn't mean she's not going to get sick and die, as she contracted an illness working in the slums and ultimately died of sepsis as a result of that. But that whatever comes in life, she will find peace, and that the kindness and compassion that she receives, this will continue on beyond her. And so this service that we hold today is a wonderful opportunity to reflect upon her life, to reflect upon what brought her inspiration, these wise teachings of the Buddha, these words of Shinran Shonin. So I thank you for the honor of gathering and remembering this very special woman today. And I thank you for all that you do, members of the Buddhist Women's Association, to carry on her example of dana, of generosity, of wisdom and compassion in our world. So in conclusion, let us hear these words that brought Lady Kujo so much comfort, the words of the Nembutsu. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Nam.
Thank you, Rinban. Please rise for Gatha, Ondokusan II, on page 220 in the large service book.
Nyorai dai no ondoku wa miyoko ni shite mo hozu shi kite mo shasu beshi. Namandabutsu, 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 namandabutsu,
Are there any announcements?
Part of our Donna project for Lady Kujo is we're collecting food and other non-perishable items for the Spartan Food Bank, our food pantry at San Jose State. There's a bin in the office, and there's also a list there of what's acceptable. If you've seen a flyer, it may have said to deliver the items to San Jose State, but we're collecting them here, and then someone will deliver it there. And it's lasting until the end of February. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Landon Kanazawa. I'm from Boy Scout Troop 611. And on Saturday, March 14th, we'll be having our annual Boy Scout dinner. What's in the dinner is like Korean barbecue, rice, broccoli, and then there's going to be a dessert. And with the dinner, there's also going to be a raffle. We'll be selling tickets outside the church here till 11:30. The tickets are $25 each, dine-in or take-out. Thank you.
Morning. Lindy Chinaga asked me to make a couple announcements for her that she made at 9:30. What were they? I really should write things down. The monthly soul line dancing is occurring today at 11:30 in the gym. So put your dancing shoes on and please attend that. And then the second thing is the art contest in celebration of Earth Day. So this is where you can make an art project out of things you might throw away instead, so you can reuse them. And so this is not just open to Dharma School students. So there are different categories amongst the Dharma School kids, but there's also an adult version. And so you're encouraged to make an art project. I know last year the pickleball club created an art project out of the broken pickleballs. So people like Dennis smash the ball so hard they're always breaking them. So instead of just throwing them away, Arlene Mori led the group and created an art project. Not that I remember what it was anymore, but we did turn in something. So anyway, if you can think of something, there is an adult category that you can enter. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Chavez, and I am the TA for the 5th and 6th grade Dharma School class. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we had our Ho'onko service where Dharma School students gave offerings known as okomotsu to the temple, and in a process known as osagarai, we would like to give these offerings back to you. So at the end of this service, could you please exit through these side doors where the 5th and 6th grade students will give you a little gift. Thank you so much.
Oh, this certainly is a day of Dana. Good morning. My name is Jeannie Nakano. I'm talking about Sunday refreshments, as always. I did make an announcement last Sunday, and somebody actually noticed. But anyway, today is February the 1st, and we are pleased to do a sharing refreshments, not with just DSPO, but with the BWA women. And when they come out with their food, you're in for a treat. So please join us after this service, directly after. And then next Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. We still have service, we still have refreshments, and it's also Boy Scout Sunday. So we're not quite sure if we're sharing with Boy Scout Sunday because they are a huge group, but they're thinking about it. So if you come, you're not going to miss Super Bowl, right? Because it begins at 3:30, so you can do all the morning stuff and still be home in time. So thank you. If you'd like to sign up and help us, my sign-up sheet is always available. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Gilbert the Greeter. This is a self-appointed position. Anybody can be a greeter. Well, I'm not the only greeter. Usually, I'm so happy I always have a Phyllis to be another greeter at the door. And it's always our pleasure to, as a greeter, to meet our new friends. Today, Ko Nishimura brought a daughter or granddaughter of his friend. Nicole is a student at the San Jose State. Nicole? Nicole? Yeah, please stand up so we can see you. Thank you. Please be seated. And we have a very nice couple. They came in late, so I did not get their name. Please. Okay, please join. We have an after-service social at the annex, so please join us. The first time you come here, you're always intimidated with lots of our terms and what words we are using. And definitely, when you are drinking a cup of tea, munch on the mochi, somebody can explain all those to you. And you want to learn more, I will be here after the service to tell you more, okay? So, of course, do I overlook any of our new friends today? No? Okay. Hopefully next week we can find more new friends. Thank you.
Are there any other announcements? Okay, well, thank you to Rinban Adams, Reverend Michael, Reverend Mikame, welcome back, and the minister's assistants, Dennis Akizuki and Matthew Rowling, organist Elaine Jones, and to our AV coordinator for today's service. Thank you for attending this morning's service, and to those who brought refreshments, we will now have closing Gassho. Please come forward for incense offering and join us for refreshments in the multipurpose room.